Happy Thursday, which was supposed to be Friday for me because of my birthday balloon that's still back there, because of summer hours, but then somebody scheduled a stupid meeting. So I'm not happy about a Friday summer meeting, rude, but that's okay. I'll just screw around in the morning, go to the meeting, and then log off. Here's what I woke up thinking, like kind of the very first thing that popped into my head that I feel like I need to say right now, that's really important for everybody to remember, especially for people who are upset about the dismissal and they're upset about or frustrated by the higher standard for defamation for public figures, that actual malice standard. We want that standard. As a society, that standard is very good, because that is the standard that allows media to print things without fear of being sued by the people that those articles are about, simply because it turns out not to be true. The purpose of the actual malice standard for public figures from New York Times versus Sullivan is to make sure that the public can see information, even though it may turn out that the information is not entirely accurate when it deals with people in the public sphere, including and specifically related to politicians. The actual malice standard allows people to print things every day about what's going on in the cabinet, about what's going on in the departments, about what's going on in Congress, knowing they have the safety. They can use their sources, they can do what they do, they can get their multiple sources, they can pass their own smell test. But they have the safety of knowing that if it somehow turns out that that was not exactly right, they're still okay. Because as long as they didn't know it was false, they didn't actively print it knowing it was false, it's fair and it's privileged and they can't be sued for it. And more importantly, they can't be forced to take it down. So I know some people probably aren't ready emotionally, the like super Baldoni stands, to think about it that way. But especially considering where we are in the United States right now and what is going on, if you trust my general opinion, the actual malice standard for defamation for public figures in the US right now is a very good thing. And there are people right now in our government and adjacent to our government who are trying to destroy it for the exact reason then they want to stop information from being printed so that we can see it. So for what it's worth, you have every right to be upset, frustrated, worried, confused about what this particular judge did in this particular case. But I would just ask you, and if you're interested in it, Google it. There's good information out there on it, actually. The actual malice standard in terms of our ability as the public to be informed is actually a good thing. So when you're ready to receive that, there it is. People have been asking about Reed, and I'm so sorry. I've had like a crazy work week. My work goes like that, where I'll have like several weeks in a row where it's like, oh, I can control my own time and there's things happening. And then I'll get a week like this week where it's just like balls to the wall all day, every day, and sometimes at night. And this week was just one of those weeks. So I haven't had a chance to watch much Karen Reed. I've been picking up on it, at night. But the thing from yesterday about the X-ray, it seems like, and No My Objection and Stara both said they know way more about the first trial than I do, said that never came up in the first trial. And I was just watching it like before I started doing my work, where they showed the X-ray and they showed that O'Keefe's arm, the one that had the sleeve that had the holes in it, there were no breaks in that arm. And I just cannot help but think that if you're a juror and you've been sitting there and you've been listening to all these physics nerds go on and on about mass and weight and stuff you didn't pay attention to in high school and, numbers, and they're up there doing quadratic equations or stuff, and you're like, ugh. And then they just show you an x-ray and say, how could someone be hit by a car hard enough that it pushes them back and kills them, but it doesn't break anything? That is like so easy for them to grab onto. And it sounds like they didn't use it in the first trial. I don't know. I just have this weird spidey sense that is like a really big deal. Because I can see how it would be easy for a regular person on the jury to be like, rather than trying to figure out the difference between what Welcher said and what Crash Daddy said or whatever, I'm just going to go with that. How hard could he have been hit by a car if he didn't break anything? And this is the stuff you don't know. I don't know what they asked in voir dire of the jurors, obviously. They may have asked, have you ever been in a car accident? Have you ever had to deal with the police? But they probably didn't get specific enough to say, have you ever known anybody who was hit by a car? Because everybody's been hit by, not everybody, a lot of people have been hit by cars. Maybe they asked, maybe they didn't. But that's the thing about jurors is you don't know that they're watching that, and unbeknownst to you, again, they're bringing their personal experiences. Their cousin's boyfriend once got hit by a car in neutral going 3 miles an hour and broke his foot. And now they're like, there's no fucking way he got hit by a car. I mean, you just don't know. All right, there's some very big 23andMe news today. I'm running it by my in-house bankruptcy expert, Mr. Not Actually Golden, to make sure I've got it right. And I'm going to do a video about that. I did watch the new Ocean Gate Netflix documentary last night, but I was kind of on my phone when I was doing it because I was responding to messages. I try to respond to you all when you send me DMs asking me questions. I need to watch it again. It just gets worse. It just gets astronomically worse. Oh, that was the other thing. A bunch of people asked me this. So apparently it's going around on Reddit again of did Blake Lively miss, she filed with the CRD, but did she have to file a complaint with the EEOC in order to satisfy a condition precedent, exhaust her administrative remedies before she could file a claim in federal court? And it's very complicated to understand, and it's no, because there's all these sharing agreements and you only have to have a letter from one agency, not that specific agency, but whatever. But what I want people to understand if they see that pop up is it doesn't matter, because Baldoni wouldn't want that. Because if he were, let's just say he had brought a motion to dismiss to say she didn't satisfy her, she didn't exhaust her administrative remedies because she never went to the EEOC. The remedy for that would be going back to the EEOC and filing a charge, which would take years. Trust me, I deal with it every day. I have an EEOC charge that's 4 years old. They're very busy there. And that investigation process is private. So none of us, we wouldn't be able to see anything that they were doing. It would cause major delay, and the EEOC does not have subpoena power. So all it would do is ask witnesses and ask whoever was willing to talk to them and ask Lively whatever they were willing to say. So you wouldn't get nearly as much information, and it would all be private. And in the end, my guess is it's complicated enough that they wouldn't make a decision anyway. They'd just be like, we don't know, here's a right to sue. So it wouldn't serve Baldoni to do that, even if it was legally available to him, which I don't think it is. Okay, talk to you later. I have clean hair, ergo I have a good vibe for the day.